Ronaldo, an inspirational character, carved from pure determination and willpower. An all-time great of the beautiful game while still, at the age of 40, able to compete on the grandest of stages.
The World Cup, it's a dream. It's a dream.
A footballer loved by his peers. In this case, that peers is Morgan, bruv.
That's a banger. And the shirt came off.
Yeah, that's spooky right there. This week, Big Ron saw more red than Liverpool's form book, with a sending off in a World Cup qualifying defeat against the Republic of Ireland. And whilst violence in Ireland is usually the sign of a good night out, it made for a far from ideal evening for Portugal. With that, his age, and an oncoming golden generation, it begs the question, do Portugal really need Cristiano Ronaldo for the World Cup of 2026? Oh wait, hang on. Yo, sorry. One second. Yo, hello, mate. Yeah. Yes, tonight. Yeah, sorry, mate. I can't make that. Nah, yeah, I'm getting rushed by 10.7 million people at the same time. I can see the whole of the Democratic Republic of Portugal congregating outside of my bathroom window already. They want me out of it. So you're gonna have to bear with me, because this is a dialogue that I'm not opening. This has been the point of discussion over online as well. Let's be honest, Cristiano Ronaldo's not waiting to hear my opinions, though. He's already halfway down the tunnel looking for a Piers Morgan interview. The reality is, though, that Cristiano Ronaldo here was in a little bit of trouble. You see, Ireland was scrapping for their lives to keep their hopes of qualifying for the World Cup of 2026 alive. They in essence needed 2 wins from their final group stage matches. They knew that going into the game against Portugal. And they got off to a flying start, scoring twice in the first 25 minutes. And that had Portugal frustrated, most namely their figurehead, Cristiano Ronaldo, who whilst being marked by one of Ireland's centre-backs, decided to lash out with an elbow, getting himself sent off. And whilst Rafael Leao was probably happy seeing him go off the pitch early, knowing that a Portugal remontada could now actually be on the cards, this was going to make life much more difficult for Portugal. The VAR decision for Cristiano? Tears. He could be seen clapping sarcastically as chants of Lionel Messi erupted around the Aviva Stadium. Ironic given he was mimicking a tears action at Brentford's Nathan Collins. Even more ironic after he said he was going to be a, quote, good boy.
I swear that I'm going to try to be a good boy.
Only to get himself sent off for GBH. Calling yourself a good boy, brother, you're pushing 50. We can't get me. We've got to change the dynamic here. And it's no surprise he was sent off. I mean, the reverse angle that the referee got to see on the VAR screen was absolutely crazy. I do wonder why he was questioning this decision from the referee. You can't just 360 spin flick jiu-jitsu people's elbow someone in the middle of the penalty area. Piers Morgan probably looked at that and now he wants him to elbow him in the bedroom. I'm not gonna lie to you. Is it okay if I touch your bicep whilst you're actually elbowing me? He could be seen leaving his family meal early to go and meet Big Ron in the dressing room showers. The assault charge this man's gonna get for that one, bro. This guy's got pointy elbows, you know. You know what I've actually worked out? This is a big brain 1000 IQ play. He's got himself red carded now, yeah, so that he can get a violent conduct charge and be banned for the first 2 games of the actual World Cup, thus giving Portugal a better chance of winning their games. The man that Big Ron is.
Playing 4D chess. This guy's a genius.
They didn't give bro his US visa, fam. By hook or by crook, he ain't gonna get on that pitch in America. Now, it's not unusual for parrots to repeat things, and with one goal followed swiftly by another from Troy, Ireland were flying high with this result. Speaking of which, you know, there was so much unity and love for him in the country, Dublin City Airport were willing to change the name of their entire gaff over on Twitter. Their tweet suggesting that Cristiano Ronaldo's tears were getting in the way of their runways. Yeah, it's a shit hostory award, I can't lie. Not everyone was happy with their exploits, however. Bruno Fernandes seeing these tweets on his phone and getting ready to commit Ryanair acts of terror.
I could blow the roof of this fucking airport.
If I'm Ron, look, I'm taking this out on the whole nation, bro. If I see a Guinness from this point onwards, it's on site. Meanwhile, he's always got some kind of spin to make things look a little bit better. I can't lie, I think he's gonna struggle a little bit to convince the public that him having more red cards than Lionel Messi means that he's the greatest of all time. I don't want it to feel like I don't like Cristiano Ronaldo, by the way. Obviously, I'm a Liverpool fan. I didn't like him when he played for Manchester United, but this man, yeah, is the pinnacle of work ethic and determination in sport. I actually don't think there is a better example of just making yourself the greatest that there is. There might be a couple on par, yeah, but from a footballing perspective, I don't think there is. This man obviously has natural talent, natural power, natural physicality, natural dribbling game. I think a lot of people forget how much of a good dribbler Cristiano Ronaldo was in his early days, in his youth. For some reason, when he was at Manchester United, the guy was like the trickster. Everyone was trying to do skill moves like Cristiano Ronaldo. He is factually one of the greatest footballers of all time, yeah. But this ending to proceedings, this unwillingness to allow it, to let it go, to understand that, fam, calm. You're 40. It's absolutely calm. You don't have to be as good as you were 15 years ago. It's getting in the way. Bro, I shouldn't be comparing this man to bums like Joao Felix up front. Roberto Martinez sending them home packing after a 6.1 foot mob rating apiece. So I know one man who will be happy to see this, and that's Pele in the afterlife after the Brazilian was disrespected by Cristiano Ronaldo in that Piers Morgan interview.
All the goals that I score, they have video. So I can prove that it's...
To give Cristiano the benefit of the doubt, though, when it comes to the Portuguese national team, I don't think we can judge him too harshly, you know, on how he performs in the Saudi Pro League. At the end of the day, he's still out there. He's still scoring. He's still scoring absolute bangers as well, even as recently as a few weeks ago. For Portugal, the guy's got to listen to Roberto Martinez on a day-to-day basis. This guy was good for Wigan, a relegation-threatened side in the Premier League like 12 years ago. He's clearly not the man to guide a golden generation. We saw that with Belgium, and he managed to fall upwards to Portugal. Do you think this man's taking in absolutely anything that Roberto Martinez is saying during a tactical evaluation? But the result that happened after the Ireland game is what got people talking and discussing about the future of Portugal and whether it's without Cristiano Ronaldo. Because without their suspended talisman, all-time record scorer and appearance maker, Portugal went and put 9 past Armenia. 9! Not what Florian Wirtz says when somebody asks him to get a goal or an assist outside the nation of Germany, but the actual number, okay, 9-1. Now look, I know Armenia's team is, when you look at some of the names in that squad, fam, I thought I was reading an invoice from Amazon, bro. Some of these are just reference numbers. They've even got a budget Gonçalo Ramos from Pro Evo 2007 playing up top against him. And in fairness, I do feel bad for them. The one guy in their Armenian squad that managed to win rock, paper, scissors 11 times in a row in order to get first priority for a Cristiano Ronaldo shirt swap was then probably devastated when he realized that the Portuguese captain was suspended for the game. But it felt like the free-flowing football and the enjoyment from the rest of the squad that maybe is lacking when the focal point of the team has to be one of the greatest footballers of all time. Like, it's got to be Cristiano Ronaldo. If you're playing in a Portuguese side and big runs up top, you got to play the ball into him. He is going to be the focal point whether he's at his prime or not. In fairness, known terrorist Joao Felix also wasn't involved in that game, so that probably had a positive impact on Portugal as well. But I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like, I was watching this thinking, this might be the time for a new era. Move over, old man. There's a new Portuguese winger wearing the number 7 and that has a first name that begins with a C. Carlos Forbes. Nah, okay, obviously, Carlos Forbes, to be fair, is having a great season in Belgium for Club Bruges, but Cristiano Ronaldo is still Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Well, I think what doesn't help is the delusion that we seem to have gotten over the last couple of years. Like I said, I don't want this to take away from Ronaldo in his prime. Prime Ronaldo, flipping heck. I never wanted to accept it in the moment, but that 2007 all the way through to like the start of the Juventus era was actually physically unplayable. Big game player for his club specifically, we'll talk about for his nation later down the line, but certainly for Real Madrid, won 5 Champions Leagues in a row, won domestic tournaments all over the gap. To be fair, went to Juventus and was still great. Wasn't, I don't think, prime Ronaldo by that point, but was still great. Went to Manchester United in his first season, was very solid, and then obviously there was a breakdown in love and in relations with the club and with himself, and then ended up heading over to Saudi Arabia. But that prime was magnificent. So just allow it to be. Allow the prime to be what it was, brother. You're not still scoring 25 goals in the Premier League if you play for Manchester United, fam. Manchester United aren't scoring 25 goals for Manchester United in the Premier League half the time. They wouldn't have done last season, do you know what I'm saying? Bro said that the Saudi Arabian Pro League is harder to score in than La Liga. Now, don't get it twisted. I don't think La Liga is as strong as it was when Ronaldo was playing in it anymore. But come on, bro. Best will in the world. Yeah, there's a couple centre-backs, a couple defenders in the Saudi Pro League that have gone over there now that are hard to play against. Kalidou Koulibaly. I mean, I know it's big 2025, but Kalidou Koulibaly was certainly once still an elite, well, elite's probably a strong word, a very good centre-back in his days for Napoli, right? I mean, to be fair, he plays for Al Hilal. Given Ronaldo's record for Al Nassr against Al Hilal, he sure as hell knows how difficult he is to play against. But if we look at like the entirety of the Saudi Arabian League, sure, there's like 2 good teams outside of Al Nassr, like all the way through. I reckon Al Hilal and Al Ittihad have a good squad, like all the way through outside of Al Nassr. But You can't tell me it's more difficult to score against Al Najm Saudi than it is Real Sociedad, bro. Al Khalij are 7th in the Saudi Pro League. Do you want to know who's leading their front line? Joshua King, bro. I thought he'd retired by now. This man was a mid-table Premier League striker at best in his prime. Decent. I think an underrated footballer, to be honest, Joshua King, yeah? Bro, I did not know this man was even still playing football, and he's 7th in the Saudi Pro League. He's had time to have an entire regen spawn at Fulham, go through his youth career, start to look like one of the most promising players that's come out of Fulham in ages, and this is what Cristiano Ronaldo's coming up against on a week-to-week basis. But that's by the by. Okay, the real question that we're answering and posing today, are Portugal a better team without Cristiano Ronaldo in the starting 11? And the reason this became discourse is because over on Twitter, it was worked out that the last 2 times that Portugal had scored 9 goals in any match whatsoever, Cristiano Ronaldo was suspended for both of them. Obviously, this 9-1 game against Armenia. The last time this happened was when Portugal put 9 past Luxembourg back in 2023. Now, that does sound crazy, but the context here really is that as far as the Armenia game is concerned, Armenia are not very good. They are, for example, 104th in the FIFA World Rankings at the moment, just above Madagascar, just below Belarus and Tajikistan, and Luxembourg are basically just around them, a 97th, so slightly above, but also still behind Thailand, Guatemala, El Salvador, and Benin. Also, this was during a World Cup qualifying campaign where Ronaldo had played against Luxembourg in the reverse fixture, and Portugal had won 6-0 with him in the team. So those 2 games actually in isolation, I think, don't mean all that much, but it does spark a bigger conversation as to the other games that Ronaldo has missed since, for example, the 2022 World Cup. Now, 2022 World Cup, I think, personally speaking, was a bit of a low point for Ron. Obviously, they went out in the quarterfinals to Morocco. He got 1 goal all tournament, and it was in the first game against Ghana. He wasn't that good overall, but neither was his Portugal side. But if we take a look at the side that actually lost to Morocco in that game, it definitely isn't the Portugal that we see today, right? The likes of Diogo Dalot were in this side, Pepe, Rafael Guerreiro, Otavio, Joao Felix on the left, Gonçalo Ramos, but a very young one. This wasn't an elite level Portuguese side. It wasn't crazily different to what we have now, but a lot of the younger players that are very good for Portugal now weren't in it, or were at an even younger age. It was all right. I think going out in the quarterfinals for a team of this Portuguese quality was pretty normal. It's just that Ronaldo wasn't particularly on job. The peak thing, I think, for Ron was that he got dropped during the course of this tournament. Unless he got it. Did he get injured? I don't think he did. He was dropped for the round of 16 game where they beat Switzerland 6-1, but then also was dropped for the game in which they went out of, where he came on as a substitute for the final 40 minutes as they were 1-0 down to Morocco. Then we get to Euros, and for me, these were a disaster for Ron. I'm not gonna lie to you. The Euros were really, really poor. He started every single game, but was not great. Didn't score during the entirety of the tournament. Did grab 1 assist in a game against Turkey, but this was a real low point, I think, from an international perspective for Ronaldo. Now, again, these are games that he's playing in, right? Let's focus on the games that he was missing. As I mentioned, Luxembourg, he was suspended for. They won 9-0. He was also suspended for a 4-0 win against Nigeria at the end of 2022. Then into 2024 for some friendlies. He wasn't in the squad against Sweden. They won 5-2. He then returned to play a full 90 minutes, and they lost to Slovenia. He was then omitted from the squad against Finland, and they won 4-2. So there's a little bit of a pattern there, but in terms of results, I don't think we can look too crazily into it. And of course, he had actually had a really good Nations League campaign where he scored against Croatia, Scotland, and then Poland. Then got to the tournament proper and scored in the quarterfinal second leg against Denmark before an important goal against Germany and a goal in the final against Spain. So for me, I don't think the results, just looking at them blankly, really actually provide, any evidence to suggest that Portugal are a significantly better team with Ron not in them. However, it's gonna sound weird, but I think if you look at Portugal's squad, this really does feel like a time where you've got to try and phase him out just a little bit. And I'm gonna explain. For me personally, I still think he has to go to the World Cup. This is ultimately Roberto Martinez's biggest decision that he's ever going to have to make as a football manager. He's got to decide whether an absolute hero, borderline god of a nation, is up to the task or not. He's got to decide whether he's gonna be the man that drops the Cristiano Ronaldo from the Portuguese national side. But if I was him, I would think about it. You see, ultimately, Cristiano Ronaldo, whilst I've talked about some results there, when it comes to international tournaments, for whatever reason, it's just never really come together for Cristiano. He's never scored a single goal in a World Cup knockout game. That is bonkers. For a player of his ability, and it's something that people use, like Messi fans use to get at him, and there is a reason to. Like, there's no doubting Ronaldo's a big game player, but for whatever reason, when it comes to Portugal, it just doesn't come together. So what really makes us think that a 41-year-old Cristiano is going to break that duck? He's nowhere near his prime at this point, can definitely still offer things. As I've said, he's still scoring for Portugal. He's still scoring in Saudi Arabia. There's no one doubting he could still get goals. But to be playing a full 90 minutes of every game in this tournament just doesn't make sense to me. And it's such a shame for him because he's so unfortunate. I feel like he's genuinely missing a golden generation here. He's been smack bang in the middle of two very decent Portuguese sides, either when he was young and now when he's kind of a little bit past it. Because if you look at the rest of this Portuguese side, fam, we've got Rafael Leao in there. We've got Bruno Fernandes still kind of in his peak, yeah? João Neves is going to be an amazing midfielder for the future. Nuno Mendes right behind him. Vitinha on the other side is having a generational run after that PSG Champions League win. There are so many players in this team. That Rodrigo Moura kid that's a wonder kid from Porto, one of the top 5 probably rated like 18 or under players right now in world football. This Portuguese side is going to be so good. And I think you've got to start preparing for life where he's not going to be the main man. The only real question mark, I think, is the fact that Gonçalo Ramos is not, for me, an elite striker. If Rafael Leao, for the sake of argument, was a number 9, it's a wrap for Ronaldo. I'm sorry. It actually is. There's no way you can justify playing Cristiano Ronaldo over him. You can maybe justify playing him over Gonçalo Ramos, who's a good striker, but not a great striker, not a lead you to a World Cup win type of striker. Do Portugal need Cristiano Ronaldo in this side to be successful in the starting 11? No. They've already got enough quality to be able to do damage. Like, this Portuguese side should go into this tournament kind of fancying their chances. They could be stronger at the back. They definitely could be stronger at centre-back. Ruben Diaz doesn't really have a very competent partner alongside him, in my opinion. But should Cristiano Ronaldo be in the squad? Absolutely. At the end of the day, he's still a clutch footballer. I think he could still do damage coming off the bench in games. But the reality of the matter is that a lot of the time, Portuguese players feel like, you know, they're cast in Cristiano Ronaldo's unlimited and ever-long shadow. They have to play him the ball. They have to try and ensure that he is the main focal point. And at the end of the day, a 41-year-old going into the biggest footballing tournament in the world definitely shouldn't be that. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Again, for me, Cristiano Ronaldo, get him on the plane, bruv. Even just to have him there, he's a winner. He's a born winner. He's the most bornest of winners maybe that world football has ever seen. He has to be in that squad, even if you're using him somewhat as a mentor, but he absolutely should not be the first name on the team sheet. Drop your thoughts though down below. Let's get this video to 7,000 likes. I would really appreciate if we could. Big push, but hey, anything's possible. You can also subscribe if you are new to the channel as well. Make sure to follow me on social media. It is at @theofficialfng on Twitter and on Insta. But it's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.